Happy October, everybody! In honor of the season, I thought I'd discuss one of my favorite spooky series, Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt was inspired by the classic EC comic series of the same name. Because it was produced by HBO, we got to see the show in all its uncensored graphic glory. The show boasted some Hollywood heavy hitters. Danny Elfman composed the theme, and Robert Zemeckis, Joel Silver, and Richard Donner were producers. Several big-name actors also had guest roles. However, none of them hold a candle to the true star of the show, its hilarious host, the Crypt Keeper. With his putrid props and pun-laden prose, the Crypt Keeper is truly a horror icon. Although the stories for Tales from the Crypt were inspired by the eponymous comic, they also borrowed heavily from other EC titles, including The Vault of Horror, The Haunt of Fear, and Shock Suspense stories. The series is known for its gruesome deaths, black humor, and darkly ironic endings. I've been a Tales fan since I started reading the comics as a kid, and the show's 7 seasons are one of the proudest parts of my DVD collection. Boils and ghouls, get ready for some excitement on the silver screen. Here are my top 10 episodes of
Tales from the Crypt.
Number 10. Top Billing. A down-on-his-luck actor stoops to murderous levels to get the lead in a bizarre production of Hamlet. Jon Lovitz yet again plays a lovable schmuck. You really feel for him after all the hard knocks he endures. He's let go by his agent, dumped by his girlfriend, and loses yet another role to his better-looking rival. You really understand why he goes to such desperate lengths to get the part. However, this being a Tales episode, he still has to pay the piper for his actions. I love the zaniness of the theater cast. We've all met those larger-than-life people obsessed with the spotlight. This episode serves as a satire of the cutthroat nature of show business. Number 9. Split Personality. Joe Pesci is a hustler who romances twin sisters who are worth a vast fortune. He convinces the girls he has a twin brother and marries them both so he can collect their full inheritance. However, his wives aren't as innocent as they may seem. Joe Pesci makes this episode. He always plays a perfect scumbag, and here he's at his slimy, sleazy best. The classiness of both Las Vegas and the 50s music provides a nice contrast to the morally bankrupt characters. We also get cameos from 2 other great actors known for gangster roles, Burt Young and Joe Pantoliano. Overall, a fun episode with a nicely foreshadowed conclusion.
The best things in life come in twos. You understand what I'm saying?
Number 8. Television Terror. An arrogant news host investigates a house supposedly haunted by the ghost of a female serial killer. He gets more than he bargained for when he's plagued by increasingly dire supernatural events. Although this could have been the standard haunted house storyline, the TV broadcast element gives this episode a unique spin. Aired over 9 years before the Blair Witch Project, it features extensive handheld camera shots. The documentary-style filmmaking makes everything more intense, making this one of the scariest episodes in the series. Number 7. People who live in brass hearses. An ex-con, along with a simple-minded brother, plots revenge on an ice cream truck driver who sent him to prison years ago. Bill Paxton is really entertaining here as a short-tempered and competent crook. We also get another horror icon with Brad Dourif, also known as the voice of Chucky. Dourif gives a sympathetic performance as the dim-witted sibling who's frequently on the receiving end of his brother's rage. It's like if Forrest Gump were manipulated into a life of crime. The two have great chemistry as a pair of bundling 2-bit crooks. However, the best part of the episode is the twist ending. It's completely unexpected and still manages to amuse on repeated viewings. It's one of the best examples of the show's dark humor. Number 6. You Murderer. A criminal's new life starts to unravel after a series of betrayals. This one's unique because it starts off with the lead character, Lou, already dead. Through a twist of fate, his consciousness is stuck in his corpse, and he tells his story via flashback. Lou, wanting to escape his past, gets plastic surgery to look like none other than Humphrey Bogart. The episode is directed by Robert Zemeckis, who had just finished filming Forrest Gump. He uses similar computer effects to insert Bogart's face onto the actor. The effect is also used in the opening, which has a cameo from Alfred Hitchcock. The other neat element from the episode is the camera work. Because it's told from Lou's frame of reference, everything is shot in POV perspective. This leads to some creative visuals after he's murdered. With its black and white sequences and creative references, this episode is a morbid homage to classic noir films. Number 5. The Ventriloquist Dummy. A struggling ventriloquist hunts down his idol to get some tips on the craft. Bobcat Goldthwait plays the starry-eyed dreamer, but it's Don Rickles who steals the show, playing the bitter former star hiding a dark secret. This one plays out like a classic mentor story, with a jaded veteran coming out of retirement to guide the eager novice. This being a Tales episode, however, we're treated to a macabre reveal that drastically changes everything in the 3rd act. The effects and frantic camera work remind me of early Sam Raimi. Number 4. What's Cookin'? A couple runs a struggling diner that serves only squid-based meals. Business gets a boost when a drifter gives them a steak recipe that uses alternative sources. This one is really personal to me because of the lead actor. Prior to this, I'd only known Christopher Reeve for the iconic role of Superman. Unlike his reserved portrayal of the Man of Steel, here he gets a chance to show off his strong comedic chops. He's really funny as the good-natured chef who's conflicted by his newfound success. This is also a star-studded episode. Judd Nelson plays the dubious hired hand, and Meatloaf is the couple's landlord and first victim. Now that I think about it, meatloaf gets eaten a lot. Part Sweeney Todd, part Little Shop of Horrors, this one will make you think twice the next time you eat at a Ma and Pa restaurant. Number 3. Yello. It's the final year of World War I. A lieutenant is convicted of cowardice for abandoning his platoon, and he's sentenced to death by a firing squad. The lieutenant is the son of an army general and never wanted to enlist in the first place. His father is a man of the machine and, tragically, the one who convicts him. The two are played by real-life father and son Eric and Kirk Douglas, which allows for some intense performances. You also have some great supporting roles from Dan Aykroyd and Lance Henriksen. This is the only hour-long episode in the series. Nothing supernatural or remotely scary happens, but it plays out like a riveting drama. Number 2. The Third Pig. The 7th season of the show really went downhill. The production had moved from LA to Great Britain, and the change resulted in dull plots, boring dialogue, and most egregiously, a lack of that Twisted Tales humor. This season's stories were uninspired and almost unwatchable. Then, the very last episode of the show hit us with the unexpected, a cartoon! The story is an original retelling of the Three Little Pigs. The big bad wolf kills 2 of the pigs, and the third is convicted of the crime. While he's in jail, he's visited by his brother's ghosts. They help him escape and convince him to construct a Frankenpig to avenge their deaths. The entire episode feels like an itchy and scratchier Ren and Stimpy cartoon, with its visual gags, over-the-top violence, and adult sensibilities.
Smokey couldn't believe the luck. There's a cute girl outside, and she wants to come in.
Ballsy and off the wall, this episode was a return to form for the series and allowed Tales from the Crypt to go out on a high note. Before I get to my number 1 choice, here are a couple honorable mentions. Forever Ambergris. A washed-up war photographer starts losing assignments to an up-and-comer played by Steve Buscemi. He comes up with a deadly scheme to eliminate the competition and also get his wife in the process. Although the ending is a bit lackluster, this episode is a must-see just for the gore effects. The New Arrival. A child psychologist learns his radio program is about to be canceled. To boost his ratings, he decides to host a live therapy session in the home of a strange woman and her disturbed child. You may recognize the mother, Zelda Rubinstein, as the psychic from Poltergeist. This episode is great for its suspense. We're never entirely sure if the child is actually real or a figment of the mother's imagination, and we're kept guessing until the end. 2 for the show. A man learns his wife is leaving him and kills her in a jealous rage. After he cuts up her body and puts it in a suitcase, he gets caught up in a deadly game of cat and mouse with a cop aboard a train. A simple plot with a stellar execution, this episode is like an early Hitchcock thriller. The plot unfolds in one location and the tension comes from the character interactions. It's riveting watching the lead squirm under the cop's prying eye. And finally, Undertaking Parlour. A group of aspiring filmmakers stumble upon a sinister conspiracy involving the town pharmacist and mortician. When one of the boys' fathers is murdered, they decide to use their movie-making skills to bring the men to justice. A lighthearted romp, this one plays out like an 80s adventure flick like Stand By Me or The Goonies, which is appropriate as Jonathan Keyquan himself stars as one of the kids. Despite my love of animation, for my top pick I had to choose an episode that's live action, endlessly rewatchable, and showcases all the best aspects of the series in one neat package. And my number 1 Tales from the Crypt episode is Death of Some Salesmen. A con man stumbles across a strange redneck family with an unhealthy obsession with salesmen. 2 words, Tim Curry. The versatile British actor plays all 3 members of the Brackett clan and imbues each with their own unique personality. Curry, thanks to makeup legend Todd Masters, brings the eccentric family to life. It's hilarious seeing Curry play off himself in such a believable and terrifying manner. Both Curry and Masters received Emmy Awards for their work. I don't want to spoil too much about the episode, but I will say that it's outrageous, cringe-inducing, and a thrilling rollercoaster ride. Tales from the Crypt is a fun, creative series and still holds up as one of the best horror anthology shows of all time. Most of the episodes are available on YouTube. Be sure to check them out as you get into the spirit of the spooky season.
Tales from the Crypt.